Ammonite。哇哦，鹦鹉螺跟鹦鹉螺之光有什么区别呢？我们来看看。
Alberta County, and it actually went down all the way down. It's not the Mississippi. It went through the continent and split it in two, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Obviously, it's no longer there. But what's left is this little river, no longer splits anything, but it has this special place in it called Bear Paw, which is an Indian reservation in Canada. And the reason why this is called an Ammonite and this is called an Ammonlite is because the Native American Indians who worked that land wanted to give a name to that, spoke to the iridescence in it. So they changed the last Ammonite, the N to an L, so that it's Ammonlite. It was not recognized as a gem until 1981. But here's how this thing got formed, if I can remember it correctly. An ammonite can get a kind of concretion around it, and aragonite is the mineral. It interacts with the shell. But in this particular shell, in this particular river, in this particular spot, in the entire universe, the ammonite is able to interact as it's fossilizing, interacts with the calcium in the shell, interacts with the aragonite in such a way that it ends up creating this amazing iridescent shine. And it's the only place in the entire world where it happens. And there are ammonites everywhere else, but only there do you get that shine. It's very fragile. What they have to do to it is either take that ammonite and they get pieces of it, it is very fragile, and put a quartz on it or an epoxy to stabilize it. And that's what these are. And actually, I gave back to Bill the two large pieces that he had, which were very beautiful, and you can see more what's done to it. But if you look at the back of it, you see it's just that. But here, with the stabilizing stuff, in epoxy, it allows the shine to come through, and it gives it enough hardness that I don't want to try by dropping it, but it keeps it so that it doesn't break.
So basically they're doublets? They're doublets?
Yeah. Well, they're coated.
I don't know if that.
Well, they're stabilized onto the what I believe is that slate kind of material or shell, that soft black.
On the back?
On the black.
That's not a epoxy as well? I'm asking.
I think it is soaked in epoxy too.
Well, my sources just said they could do it with either quartz or with epoxy.
Yeah.
And that stabilizes.
Well, they make triplets.
So they have a little curlicue shell. These are relatives of octopus and squid that no longer exist. Their closest relative is the nautilus, which I think there's 7 species worldwide. They just discovered another one. There were also, besides the ammonites, there were nautiloids, which looked more like a nautilus, that existed back then. The ammonites went out with the dinosaurs. They went extinct. So all these guys start out as a little larva. They start to make the shell. And they make the shell in a spiral. And as they do that, they live in the chamber that is the end of the spiral. So as they go along, they wall off the back of the previous living chamber, and create a larger one to accommodate their larger body so they can grow into it a little bit. And then they do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, as they grow. And what they do is these empty chambers, they have, nautiloids have one on the inside, and ammonites had them on the outside. They have a tube called a siphuncle.
A siphuncle?
A siphuncle, it's a cool word. And they can adjust the level of gas or fluid in each of those chambers so they can maintain their equilibrium like this. And so, like ballast in a submarine, they can go up or they can go
Oh,
down.
how fun.
Just
Here,
some cool stuff.
that's really cool. Do you know why this one has this kind of sheen to it?
That is probably the original nacre. Nacre is the cool looking stuff on the insides of shells.
Like pearl.
So this may have had the outside worn off or may have dissolved out,
Yeah.
but this is the original nacre that's on the inside
Oh,
of the shell.
lovely.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.